Are you ready?
Let's go on a road trip! Yay! Yeah!
What is that beeping sound? It's just telling you it's on.
Should we get cracking with part 2?
What?
Then the next thing you do is you attach your facings to your front. So you've got collar on, so you're going to stitch all along there, come to the point that you have stitched to, and then you're going to come all the way along there, up and around the collar, down, across there and back down again. So you're attaching the whole thing and then you're going to bag it through, and then we're going to stitch it down. Again, pin it, baste it, do whatever you need to do to make sure you get it right before sewing. Also, press as you go. I'm not, because I don't have time to keep standing up and running over and setting up the camera over there and setting the camera over here, so it's not going to look very neat. But if you were to press all of these seams open, get it all tidy, it'll look a lot neater in the end. So now I'm going to sew all the way around, get through. Obviously my bodies have been cut off, so you'll have a facing going all the way down to the bottom of the garment that you'll need to sew through. If you wanted to put a lining on it, you would have attached the lining onto the facing. If not, you're going to have to tidy up this edge, get it all neat to whatever level of extent you want this to be, whatever level of professionalism you want it to be. You're stitching across the top to the point there. You're going to try and get it exactly in line with that stitch. You have to try and do it on both sides, because otherwise it'll sit off, it'll look weird. You're then going to go up there and around. So the needle is exactly in between the seams, right down the centre of the two, the collar and the tip. Then it's going to go across. Then you would press it, you'd snip it, you'd trim it, you'd tidy it up. It's wrong. That was right there. So you can see on this side what it should look like. So on this side, you can't see it, come on, focus on that. There we go, focus there. There we go. So the stitching comes down, it comes to the point in between the two seams and comes across. On this side, I haven't folded it down because of the way it's going to sit later on. It goes across, it meets up with the stitch line of the collar that's attached, and then comes up. So it's like they're all perfectly matching. You then trim it all up, notch all the edges so that they come out into a point. Any sharp curves and things, you snip them to make them open up a bit further. And then you turn it through. It's easier on this because it doesn't have a lining attached, so you don't have to tuck it into the sleeves and all of that jazz. And blah 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 blah. And the points through so they're nice and square. Use a knitting needle to tuck them through. Other little trick is to use a bradawl. Some people call it a stiletto, whatever you want to call it. Lots of names for this. We all argue about what it's called. You dig it in a couple of stitches before the point. You dig it in between the two stitches, and then you use the point of it to really square off the edges. If you press them open as well, they'll fold up nicer. It's all a bit baggy in there. You do that on both sides and on the points of the lapel. And once you've turned it through, you would then press it all flat. You'll probably want to do some sort of edge stitch or something. Again, bespoke people would do it by hand. They would do an edge stitch right on the edge, unless they're being fancy and do a quarterback. If you're doing it by machine like this way of doing it, it might be quite nice to do a quarter edge stitch all the way around, make a feature of it. And you see we've got this happening here. Dun 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 dun. That's because I didn't notch the right angle. Again, can you see it? Probably not. It's not contrasting. Oh, it's the detail. Is the camera lens there? Anyway, we've got a right angle of a stitch, so you need to go right up close to it and snip it open. Try not to cut the threads. Yada yada yada. And then we turn it through. And oh my god, it's laying flat all of a sudden. How did that happen? That's not brilliantly flat, but once that's pressed, that'll be flat. Do that on the other side, because we've probably got the same thing happening. Oh, it doesn't want to. Oh, it can't. Oh, it's pulling too tight. Want to lay flat. Flat. Once pressed. Now we have the issue of it's flapping around, it's not laying flat. You just top stitch it all the way around, that'll help it lay flat. But one thing you need to do is to open it up, press open the seams. So you see there, they are pressed open. And then, yeah, you see, nicely pressed open. Fold them over so they are meeting each other. And then you need to sew them together. This is on the inside of the collar, so you see no stitching on the outside. Make sure to stitch on the seam allowance, and you want to be stitching on the two, the body part and the facing part. Additionally, thank you very much for getting this far through the videos. It's very kind of you. Please remember to subscribe and like all the videos. It's very helpful if you do. And there I have come to the end of it. Snippety snip snip. And as you can see, it's all stitched together on the inside, not on the outside, if you can see it. Yeah. I'm not going to do the top stitching because I'm sure you know what that looks like. I'm not going to tidy up the facing, but you want to do that. You want to, the bare minimum, fold it over once and stitch it so that on the outside it's just a clean edge. More than that, fold it twice, overlock it so it's neat and doesn't fray, anything like that. Give it a bit of a press, put what you're going to do now. Say hello to the meerkat. You would have pressed as you went, so that you probably all you can hear now is the iron on. Wait for the iron.
Drop the camera.
There we go, Stevie. Should obviously have figured out where you want it to sit. We're simply pressing the fold in. You don't necessarily have to press the collar over. If you've got a tailor's hand, you can shape it over that and it'll sit a bit nicer. And then there you go. As you see, it's creased basically along where it's stitched. Then you get a nice notch. The ideal sort of what I was told is a good symmetry for a notch is the same distance there as it is there and as it is there. So that's the best way of figuring it out. This one doesn't look too bad, but I think that's longer than that, and probably that might be the same distance as that. But you're just trying to get an equal triangle that way. The only way to achieve that is trial and error. So the bespoke people, they would put on the undercollar first, and they would then, once they're happy with the way the undercollar is sitting, the undercollar would come all the way down to probably about here, and then they would mark on it the dimensions, get the notch sitting just right, and then cut it out, and then put the top bit, the bit of cloth on top. I've rushed this. It's probably not even, it's probably not laying beautifully flat. But there we go. A notched top collar and lapel. Done in about half an hour. Woohoo!